This is ITV, certainly the best.
I've taken a close look at the grand norm that is guiding our democracy. That is talking of the constitution of our country. And I will not now say it's unfortunate, but is that what happened this past, that's yesterday, and what has been happening there is provided for as far as the constitution is concerned.
Okay.
Because if you go to section 90 down to 93 of the constitution, you have clearly how the speaker and the deputy are supposed to be elected, and also the conditions under which they are supposed to leave the positions. And one of the conditions there is that if 2/3 of members really vote that he should go, which is by way of impeachment, then he has to go. So for me, what has happened is not so much the removal of the speakers that has occurred, but really the method by which it has been happening.
Exactly.
And that is what is very unfortunate. And that is because you would have observed that this was the pattern at the national level at the time, where Senate President, the House of Reps Speaker, they were being removed until some form of stability was brought into play in that location. Edo State, unfortunately for us, is now getting notorious in terms of being the leading state where there are this gale, as you have said, the gale of impeachment occurring. And for me, what seems to be lacking or missing here is that it's a challenge to the ruling party in our state.
Okay.
That is the APC. And that's because issues of leadership in terms of, as we saw it even at the national, the parties seem to have lost out in terms of determining who and who were to be in charge. And that seems to be happening here. Because if the elders of the party, the leadership, were working closely with the people in their various that are in the house now, I'm sure that some of these things could have been more amicably resolved than the seeming different words have been used. But for those of us around here, we know that this pattern is common to those people that they call up overthrow. They say we have overthrown a government. Okay. And when you are going to overthrow, everybody gets ready that morning. Lives could be lost. We thank God that maybe what happened yesterday was not as deadly as the previous ones, where people came with canisters of tear gas. Some were carrying dangerous weapons. Even some were alleged to have had pistols with them. Yesterday, maybe the worst part of it was the throwing of chairs. So it's really sad for us. And I think the state, those in charge here, especially the political leadership, have to take charge and make sure that we are not ridiculed as a people.
Okay, if you look at the signatures, according to them, they garnered over 16 and this gives them the majority.
Exactly.
Then what's the essence of the free-for-all? Do they need to do that? Because we even saw that previously, the one that saw the present Mrs. Ativie on board, the same thing and the same method again yesterday, even when they had more majority of the members.
Yeah, I think what is at stake here is power tussle. And when it gets to that, niceties are the way you are putting them don't come into play. Because remember, the own Dr. Konobo that has just been removed now, by way of the hierarchy in the state, was the third citizen in terms of the governor, deputy, then you talk of the speaker. I know that somewhere at the conference, we're arguing whether the chief judge should not come in somewhere there. But what it means, therefore, is that for you to ask such a man, that is the speaker, to preside over his removal, because already, I'm sure, he was aware of what was going to play out. So unless you use maybe some form of force, the person will not immediately just give in. And yesterday, I must praise the outgone speaker now, because he displayed unprecedented kind of calm. And I'm sure maybe it's the thing we say sometimes. He's a medical doctor. We're sure he has a profession. I'm not sure he's desperate. So you see that when others were throwing fists all over, he quietly took his exit and all, believing, and that would have been the next line, if there were to have been constitutional violations, he could have gone to challenge. But as you have rightly mentioned, having had 16 signed, and then later 3 joining, which is 19 out of 24, is overwhelming. And maybe what we must now be addressing, the issues that will be coming up later, is what brought these 19 together. Because we said it in the studio here some time ago, that there were already indications that there were some grumblings and things going on as far as the way the relationship between the executive and of course the House. And so maybe some people are asking for more confrontational things than what has been in place under the last leadership.
Okay, talking about maturity, if they were served, you know, and we expected them to act maturely, how can we stop such impeachment and so we can run a smooth legislative process?
No, I think what I can still say there, this is because the way you impeach an executive is different from the way this leadership can be changed in the House. Okay. And that is because in the case of the executive, you will give the charges, you must try the person, and all of that, give the person the opportunity to defend himself before you start removing the one. But as far as this one is concerned, is that if you garner enough votes, that is enough signatures and all, you come around and change it. For me, as I said earlier on, Edo State and indeed Nigeria is in their strait of getting it right as a people. And we cannot afford these continuous changes and the drama. Because what was put together just now, unless you watch closely, some people might not be able to differentiate between the one that happened before and the one that happened just yesterday, because it has become almost the same drama that is playing out. As I have said, it is that what they must do, for me, is that the leadership, because there is a party that has the dominant number as far as that House is concerned. Yes. Sometimes there is a thin line between what you call interference and then, of course, maintaining discipline amongst your members. Because I think this is an embarrassment for the party in charge of this state. They should have been able to nip this in the bud, call their people together, because there is no way you will not have disagreements. But the best way sometimes is to see how you can judge or rather war in terms of resolving cases of this nature. Okay, away from that now. ASU is on strike again. What's the implication of this on Nigeria's education sector? I must say that having been in the university system for quite some time now, this is another sad period for us, the university system. And that is because we have been struggling for quite some time now to regularize our sessions and all. Some universities like University of Benin, we're almost getting it fully right. We just ended our second semester exams. But what has happened, and this is where I think that leadership in our country must wake up, is that there was ample time to prevent this thing from happening. Agreement was reached in 2009. All of us are aware of the history. In 2013, there was again a meeting when they were failing to meet the obligations, and then there was a memorandum of understanding. After signing all of that, you now expected that certain things were done, but the bulk of the agreements have not been implemented. From what we heard, which is very sad, is that a body of ASU that you know of who are members sent in so many letters asking, how are you going to treat? They did not. What is the implication again? Is that the system is going to go into comatose. Students are going home all over the country. And then, of course, parents are going to be facing the normal unsavory problem of how to cope with their children's career that are going to be truncated. Everybody, I believe, is feeling sad, but I don't know if the government is feeling sad. Because if from experience they've known that these matters must be tackled, then they should have taken proactive steps to prevent it from happening. I'm even more worried now, because from what we have known, this is just the beginning. Once ASU starts, you will expect others will follow in due course. You will expect that when the universities are finishing, polytechnics might start following. You will expect that when polytechnics are finishing, college of education will start following. What is responsible for this is because government is not properly engaging those that they are supposed to engage. I believe that in collective bargaining, once you have agreed, even if you have problems, you should be able to put those problems across. Don't neglect the people as if they don't matter. Some people, I must try to comment here, have said, oh, there's economic recession. It is true there's economic recession. But in many fora, I have tried to argue that if there's economic recession, then those at the political level should demonstrate by their actions and by their other activities that they are also feeling the pinch. Okay. Don't tell one side to bear it while the others are ignoring it. We are actually praying that this matter will be resolved early so that our youths, of course, can get back to the classroom. Thank you so much, Professor A.D. Erhagbe, for joining me on the Main News tonight. It's indeed been my pleasure. Thank you. Okay.
This is ITV. Certainly the best.